Welcome everyone to Cohort 11, and my name is Jeremiah Kaplan, and this is Werewolf the Apocalypse. Quick introduction to myself. I am Jeremiah Kaplan, also known as the Mindful DM on Facebook. My day job is as a research and training specialist, essentially, at a research and training center at Arizona State University. So I am also working for the state of Arizona in the Supreme Court capacity. I work as a commissioner for the Family Court Improvement System, so working with children and families. I have also used games or gaming in an educational capacity professionally for going on 4.5, almost 5 years now. But I've been saddled with the hashtag Forever DM moniker since the year 2000. So about 21 years of specifically running games. And so I want to say welcome to you all and give us a chance to sort of share this space of introductions. And I'm going to ask if we could kind of take some turns doing quick introductions to yourself, the character that you chose, any particular pronouns you'd like to mention, or anything relevant or that you find relevant for your character. Anyone can start. I won't necessarily call you out.
I guess I'll go real quick.
Thank you, Bo.
So my name is Bo. Hi, everyone. I'm playing Speaks with Shadows. Who I've never played this game before. So I'm just playing Speaks with Shadows. I'm just going to go by he, him. And I'm going to typically remain in my lupus form, which is like a wolf form. You can kind of imagine me as kind of a very raggedy, unkempt Egyptian wolf, or just like longer snout, very hairy, maybe even like an Afghan wolf. If you want to, that's kind of what I would look like. Brown for sure. And this is my cub. He's with me today.
I got 2 of those in the other room.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
I'll go ahead and go. My name is JJ. I'll be playing Whisperer, a Metis. He is completely hairless, very scrawny. The elders called Whisperer Mule, and anytime he even stepped out of line a little bit, was constantly being beat up. He typically stays in his Krynos form, again, completely hairless. Generally, his eyes are green, and generally rather quiet, and whispers seemingly to himself quite often.
Nice. Getting a good sense of that. That's great. Okay, who's next?
Hi, my name's Cole. I'll be playing Lissa Connor tonight. We'll be using the narrative of she and her. She is very theatric. She's very strange, and she doesn't quite line up with the passions and ideals of her father. So she's kind of outcast in that way. But while she is a bit on the strange and quiet side, she doesn't take shit from people. So she will most respectfully or disrespectfully pull out her pistol on you. So.
All right, and my name is Mark, and I'm going to be playing Marrow. My pronouns are he, him. Marrow is a former boxer. He put off his chains really as long as he could, and he's just kind of excited to, get some family back into his life, get an opportunity to have some brothers again. He's been alone for quite a while, struggled with homelessness, and he's just starting to get himself back on his feet.
Perfect. Okay. And the 4 of you, just to do a little bit of kind of a recap and to set the stage, I'll try and keep the exposition as short as possible. You are at the Sept of the Green, which is a cairn or gathering place of spiritual energy that is located in Central Park, New York City. and you all are a part of a questing pack that had recently gone through and undergone the rite of passage, having turned from cubs, unaware of your werewolf heritage, going through your first change and actually becoming werewolves yourselves. You have recently passed the rite of passage and become true guru and accepted by your tribes, your auspices, and are now fully fledged guru members of the Sept. In other words, you're card-carrying members of the Sept of the Green now. And from the previous side of things, before you had gone through your rite of passage, each one of you had had an opportunity to study with a kind of a quintessential version of your individual auspice, right? So the Ragabash, the Thurge, Philodox, Galliard, and Arun, each of you had a chance to sort of, as an understudy with each of your respective elders. And that's very important, that term elder that carries such respect and weight to it in this guru society. And so you find yourselves as a small group typically does, a group within a group, having returned from your previous adventure. And I'll recap the other group's adventure real briefly to kind of give you all context, and we'll kind of pick it up from there as if y'all were this group, so that you all have this idea of what happened, where are we now, where are we starting. So previously, there is one of the elders called True Silver Heels, and he's in a room. It just this warrior werewolf, just perfect specimen. And he comes in and he charges the pack with this rite of passage to go into the Umbra and find this factory, this chemical factory that's just spewing, corruption into the spirit world and into the physical world because of some of this. And it's just manifesting in this toxic corruption. And so he sends the pack to go there and to recover a fetish, which is essentially a magic item in Werewolf. Now there's talons and fetishes. Talon is kind of like that one-time use magic item, like break the tablet, something happens, you're done. A fetish is more enduring. It's an item that was created through the binding of a spirit, one or more spirits within an actual object. So this is something of some power and significance. And after the questing pack succeeded in acquiring the item, which is called Bane Catcher, essentially it's a dream catcher that can be used to pull in this idea of a bane, a toxic spirit, or the spirit of toxicity, if you will. And so you were able to retrieve said item, and you had returned to the cairn and undergone the completion of the rite of passage. And now you have essentially gone through a little bit of celebration. There was what's called a moot, or a big sort of werewolf party that has everything you would think a werewolf party would have: howling, hunting, everything. And so now you find yourselves in front of a bonfire that has been set, and you find yourselves sort of having that moment of celebration, but also waiting, because True Silver Heels is coming to collect said fetish from you to finalize all of this in the final parts of your the ritualistic introduction into Guru society. So having been there, you are all around the fire. It's late evening. You've had an entire day of revelry and hunting, and it's just been one of those days where you were exhausted to begin with from this incredible exertion of this rite of passage. And then they expected you to party all day. Well, that's what, when you get an increase in your stamina from your stats, that's what you use it for in Werewolf. So we find ourselves again, Central Park, evening, bonfire, waiting for the elder to come and collect from your rite of passage. Any questions before we begin?
Are we currently in the real world or in the Umbra?
Good question. At this point, you would be in the physical world, sort of in a little cubby inside of Central Park that's obscured from vision from some other areas. Don't ask me where. The book said it, and I don't remember. I'm not from New York. I've been there.
I was gonna say, normally a bonfire in Central Park, you got a bunch of hobos around it, and it's not fun.
Well, considering this is a bone gnar, Karen, and bone gnars are known for their sort of transient existence,
Sweet.
it fits right in.
All right, perfect.
Speaking of which, hi, Mero. Okay. Any other thoughts before I jump in with the last exposition piece? Okay. So you're around the bonfire waiting for things to kind of begin, to kind of kick off. And the elder Galliard, right, which is sort of the song singer, the tale teller, is his name is Riordan, and he's a Fianna. So essentially, if you could have an Irish werewolf, that is essentially what you're looking at. Bright red hair, just a ginger werewolf who's ecstatic and uses all of the fun Irish stereotypes. And I can use all of them because I'm half Irish. I did the 23andMe, it's confirmed. So what we're looking at is an individual who is very tall, a warrior in his own right. And he begins singing just this absolute haunting tale of the questing pack and their recent rite of passage. You're not sure if he's improvising this on the spot or if he prepared it somehow, because he only heard your tale this morning. But he is spinning it beautifully, and he tells, "Fight the worm where it lies, honor the questing pack. Behold, their success honors all and honors Gaia. Heard you the tale of the bane catcher, a fetish of such power that it swallows the very banes that infest Gaia's heart? Listen well, listen to the tale of the sect of the green and its newest Garou." All right, so if y'all wanted to have a moment to introduce yourselves, I invite you to do so. To each other in game, I would say.
Oh, I was like,
Sorry, not introduce.
Like,
Wrong word.
Do it.
There it is. Not introduce, but to discuss what had just happened and maybe where you were at.
I would say so that it's like with like a pact kind of a thing. It's kind of like if someone didn't want to party, it's still kind of like a forced party, right? Kind of getting that vibe.
I wouldn't say it's a forced party, but at the same time, it would be very difficult not to get swept up in them celebrating you and your success.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that's totally cool. Is there like a, for lack of better terminology, is there like a corner of the party that's maybe doing a little bit different type of party, like a slower psychedelic style party? I'm gonna guess no.
Probably not.
Okay.
But in between some of the more hardcore partying, you might see both Whisperer and Speaks with Shadows would probably be in that group of the more contemplative celebration rather than the Arun and Galliard full moon sort of smash and grab things. But yeah, there it is.
Whisperer is definitely like kind of setting off a little bit to one side, kind of seemingly whispering to himself and playing with this like little ingot that he's got with him, and he's just kind of fiddling with it as he is just kind of whispering.
Okay, perfect. And so while a little disconcerting, this is something that you've come to understand about your packmate and accept as just one of the quirks. But then again, he is a Thurge and therefore someone that talks mostly to spirits. So there's that weird thing about him. Unless you're also a Thurge, in which case it's not weird at all. But again, the sort of the nature of the werewolf, that duality sense of accepting spirits and literally speaking to them. So as you're sort of finally getting to this nice, quiet, contemplative celebration point where you're able to kind of really settle in and see the bonfire and let the flames, kind of the purity of the flames kind of mesmerize you as you're looking at them. Very loud voice comes over all of your shoulders as you're kind of just almost shocked by the sort of the suddenness of this intrusion. Yes. The questing pack returns. Welcome. He's kind of looking at you all. And so this is true Silverheels, the one that the master of the challenge, the one that presented you with the quest itself. And he literally holds out his hand
Who has it?
The fetish, yeah. Whoever has it. Probably will be one of the Thurges. But since you're both here, I'll let you decide.
Go ahead, Whisper.
I was gonna say Whisper would have just leaned back away from that hand just automatically because he's been, beaten so many times, and just kind of speaks to shadows like, and scoots back a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, we just.
So he will reach out and grab it from you and look at it, and he understands what it is. He's an elder. He's an elder Arun, so he's kind of looking at it like, yeah, it's the real deal. Okay. He kind of looking it over. And then he hands it directly back to you.
Do you take it, Whisper? All right, I'll take it. I'm still in lupus form, so I think I'm just like bite it, just like take it back.
Okay. So after sort of taking it back, he looks kind of down at each of you as you all kind of like sat down around the fire, and all of a sudden there's this 7-8 foot tall Arun standing over you and just kind of like, looking down. There is one task left to perform. Our sister sept of the Winged Wolf, was once the possessor of this fetish. Our relations with them have not been what you would call the best since the destruction of their pack. Their questing pack did not survive, whereas you succeeded.
Amateurs.
Yes, he gets it. Yes. Therefore, I task you with bringing this fetish, bring it to the sept of the Winter Wolf, and there give it to the elders. Finish your task and ensure our politics stay clean from here out. Any questions? Good, let's go.
Seems like a simple enough gig.
I was about to go, where's the sept of the Winter Wolf at?
He turns around kind of over his shoulder as he's walking. He's like, come on.
I like his spirit.
It's a good, just strong spirit, It's just good.
I naturally like, that's my boss. Now, hold on, before we go, we've been partying pretty hard. Let me brush my teeth real quick. And he takes a long pull on like a Miller Lite and just swooshes it around and spits it out.
Oh, I think
Lord.
All right. And he takes you over to just kind of like a neighboring tree. I mean, not that far away. I mean, this isn't, we're talking not like a huge place here with a little bonfire, maybe a couple of other of Guru that are scattered about, sort of coming down from the revelry. And you see what looks to be a female Guru in Hamid form. So a woman who's just kind of standing there very calm. And you recognize this as another Thurge. Her name is Pearl River. And she's a very calming spirit, and literally the yin to his yang, if you will, or yang to his yin, depending upon which would be more accurate.
Whisper immediately bows, seeing her.
Okay, so Whisper and speaks with shadows. This is your elder that was helping to teach you the ways before you went on your rite of passage. So this is someone that you know very well. And she kind of has this very soft-spoken voice. In order to get you to the sept of the Winter Wolf, quickly, I will open a moon bridge. It will get you there very quickly, but beware upon arrival. The snows are heavy, both on the ground and within the umbra. Be mindful of where you step, young Guru. And she has this kind of like contemplative pause, almost like looking at you all for a moment, almost opening space.
So kind of a small question.
Shoot.
Do werewolves have a lot of reaction to the different temperature changes? I mean, especially since Whisper is hairless.
So I would say
It's true.
for the simple fact that you are hairless, yes, you would probably have a little bit more of an adverse reaction to the cold than others, but only just. I mean, your stamina, if I recall, Whisper is not shabby, even in Hamid form. You've got 4 dots. So you are hale and hardy.
And I'm currently in Krino's form, so.
Yep. So let's just say even more, right? I mean, your stamina is what, 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Olympian athletes beware, you are beyond their reach at the moment. Number 5 being pretty much usually what we'd consider peak human achievement, right? So
at some point during the party, I popped into my RV. Since it's Bonar camp, it's like my RV was there. So I popped into my RV and I put a bathrobe on. It's like a fuzzy stain, kind of the Dubai sort of a bathrobe. I thought it looked cool for some reason. I was definitely rocking that vibe during the party. And I look at you and I realize like, man, he's going to be cold. So I pat you on the back and I said, don't worry, little brother. And I take that fuzzy bathrobe off and I hand it to you.
Perfect.
Is this even going to fit me in
Krino's
form?
At least wear like a
So it depends. I mean, being live and kind of, dexterous as you are, it could maybe. I mean, we don't want to have a Chris Farley moment, but there it is. So
I'll kind of like put it over my shoulders and like maybe like tie the sleeves together and be like,
so
thanks.
Of Chris Farley, we have the preppy tennis player with the ass caught out of a bathrobe.
There you go.
Okay, just check. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
It's kind of a cape-ish thing going on with tied up in the front.
As you all are doing this, Pearl River has been casting the sort of performing the ritual right of Open Bridge, which is essentially what will open the Moon Bridge to another key location. And essentially, this is kind of it's a way to enter the Umbra and then travel on. If you think of like at the airport, those people movers where you start walking, but it like goes real quick. Well, this thing is actually a spirit version of that, and it just moves even quicker. That's the mechanical element of it. The spiritual aspect of it is Luna has opened up the gift of her essence to allow you to travel the spirit worlds in safety and in expedient swiftness, right? So, travel with alacrity. There you go. But essentially, that's the mechanics of what it does. Is it gets you there quicker, which is kind of like quicker, but actually better. So you see that as you're sort of seeing this happen, there is an opening through the gauntlet into the Umbra. And there you see the white of the Moon Bridge.
Before I go through, could I change to Hispo or like start the transition, slow transition, whatever?
Absolutely. It only takes a couple of moments to do so. Again, if you're sort of under duress and trying to change shapes, then that's different. It's a roll, or you can, at worst case, even if you fail the roll, you can be so pissed off you failed your roll, you can spend a rage and go for free.
Okay.
So
I would also like to go into my Hispo form.
Okay, great.
So everyone's going to be moving quickly, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be moving quickly. So, and also as you step onto it and you begin walking along it, you're almost elevated out of Manhattan, as if you're almost like a ramp that's like a freeway exit leading out of the city up into the sky almost. And so it's this idea of entering the higher atmosphere where, and as you're leaving, you're looking at the buildings of New York City. Again, in the spirit world, you've got spiders, patterned spiders, the size of Volkswagen Beetles that are climbing the skyscrapers, keeping the order together, right? The spirits of the Weaver that are just keeping this intense order and logic of the city together, the man-made structures. And as you're leaving them behind, finding your way into more natural wilderness, and wilderness with a W-Y, this wild wilderness. And you absolutely start feeling the cold kick in pretty quick. And now, luckily, you've all prepared for this in various forms. But your internal warmth and your heat and passion as a werewolf, as a warrior of Gaia kicks in, and you are able to kind of get that adrenaline kick just a little bit, and it's soothing. And there you are as you begin descending down into what you surmise would be the sept of the winter wolf. All right. And you arrive in a completely snow blanketed forest, and are just beautiful, huge natural trees. And you can see that you are still in the spirit world, and you know that you'll need to enter the physical realm to actually enter the cairn itself, because it gives it right up to the point.
Are there a lot of spirits in the area, or is it pretty empty of spirits currently?
Being winter, you might see little spirits of snow and ice and trees and maybe the occasional bird or something, but nothing immense. There's this idea of the spirit world being a representation or a spiritual manifestation of what's happening in the physical world. There's a lot of things that are hibernating right now. So maybe a wakeful spirit might be a little bit more easy to come by if it's expected to be come across, like maybe a white fox or a rabbit or something might be in the area.
Okay. Then Whisper is probably just like actually silent for once for the first time in a while.
Okay. All right. So around, it's very peaceful here, though.
So I'm going to, just to kind of paint the scene, a picture, are we on like a mountainside that's like really snowy? Are we in more of like plains, tundra type thing?
It's a forested area. You can't tell if you're on a mountain. There's certainly not a heavy grade or incline in the near vicinity. It's simply just flat expanse of forested area. There might be kind of some rolling hills here and there, like you'd see some snow banks and some drifts and things like that. That would be kind of in the area, but really just big trees, bushes, snow-covered ground, kind of a real just winter wonderland kind of peaceful place.
Okay, cool. So just to clarify, is a gift a one-time use, or is it more or less as much as I am able to use it?
It's as much as you are able to use it,
Okay.
in so much as if there is a Gnosis cost, you must spend one of your Gnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can regain that Gnosis, but you risk not having it for future moments. But it's up to you.
I do want to use heightened senses.
Okay.
It costs one Gnosis, whatever.
Gnosis.
I look at it and I go like Geonosis. That's familiar. So I'm going to use one Gnosis to do heightened senses, which it says in wolf forms is perpetually or preternaturally potent. That's a word.
You are preternaturally potent in your senses that are related to your wolf form. So sight, smell, tracking, in other words, these kinds of things. And it lasts for one scene. So we'll say while you're at the sept of the winter wolf, you may choose to tell me which of your senses you are perking up, and I will let you know if you pick up on anything else. In fact, do you focus in on anyone's particular sense right now?
Hearing.
Hearing. Okay, great. You hear just the beautiful wind and snowbank just gently blowing through the trees of the umbra, mind you. So this is kind of an interesting phenomenon that the wind itself is kind of almost seems to be welcoming you to the area, knowing that you have to shift into the physical world to be able to access the cairn.
Were we told how to get there, or is that part of the journey?
Part of the journey.
Okay, so you said that there were spirits of like foxes and rabbits around, correct?
You would have to seek one out, but you also know that from what Pearl River told you, that she was opening the moon bridge and would literally get you directly to the cairn. So you get the feeling that shifting into the physical world might get you there pretty instantaneously. That was made kind of clear. So at least through the non-exposition parts.
Okay. So go ahead. No, go ahead, Whisper. Okay, so I will kind of, as I'm humming, we'll kind of let the rest of the group know that if we can find a spirit, I can communicate with it to help us find our way.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think that we were told that that it was supposed to be directly there. So maybe just try going to the physical realm first, and I don't want to be the first one to go, because someone like me showing up out of nowhere is probably not a good idea.
Okay.
I can be back. This handsome, charming face. I'm happy doing that for you.
All right.
Yeah, I'll be happy to go too, and I'll, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
And
For
get
those
rough
people
and
who
tumble,
want
man.
to, sorry.
Oh, go on, GM. I'm just filling it with nonsense.
All good. For those of you who want to shift into the physical world, you'll need to make a Gnosis roll. So for those of you who are going to do this, look down at the bottom of your character sheet. In the middle, there's a section that says Rage, Gnosis, and Willpower. So the number of black permanent dots is going to be the number of dice that you end up rolling in most situations. Now, I might say roll this plus that, or I might say roll your Gnosis, like in this regard. And the difficulty here is actually 4. It's really low difficulty. It's very easy to slip between the worlds in this, beautiful natural landscape here. So if you have a Gnosis of 4, you'll roll 4 dice, and then you need a 4s or better for successes, and just hold up the number of successes. I find that's usually easier on Zoom. Just to, yep, perfect. So 1. Okay, 2, 1, 4. Okay, great.
I would have had 3, but I had 2 1s.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. If anyone did roll a 1, Speaks with Shadows. If you botch entering the Umbra, please let me know.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know.
No, that's fair. I definitely didn't get a botch. I don't think. Does that mean like a 1?
Yes, a 1. No, you get more 1s than successes. That's called
okay.
botch. So if that happens, your tribe has a fun little thing that would happen because of that.
Oh,
just letting you know.
Oh, okay, cool. But no, I got 4. So
I did get a 1, so that brings my success down to 0.
Okay. So Marrow, as you are sort of facing the gauntlet, sort of like pushing your face into saran wrap that eventually like pops like a bubble and you are through. You get that moment of like pressure, and it doesn't quite happen for you. And you take a moment. But you'll be able to do it. It just takes a moment, and you'll just be the last one to join. And as things are going, so heightened senses hearing is still going because of this particular piece here. So with your heightened senses, you're getting this sense of almost like being watched, and then you hear a kind of a scuffle behind a tree that seems like it's not just like a squirrel or something saying it, or something, a squirrel or something doing it. There's something with mass to it that's nearby.
I'm gonna growl at it and heighten up my the spike behind me.
Okay, so heightening up that spike behind you and kind of growling a little bit, you get this interesting response. And just as you are turning around to kind of look to see what it was, you see Marrow popping through from the Umbra, joining you all kind of, hey guy, what's up? And then all of a sudden behind him, stepping out from behind a tree, you see a massive werewolf, 9.5, 10 feet, tall enough that it's kind of hard to gauge how much taller this thing is than you. And it is mottled patchwork fur, just matted, not super clean. And across its head, you see these horns, like ram's horns, sprout out of it and twist around back. They are just massive. And it looks at you and says, welcome, pups of the Sept of the Green. I'm the warden of this cairn. There's food and shelter for you. If you're here to meet our sept leader, you'll have to wait until tomorrow. And he turns around and starts walking.
Rude.
Let's follow him.
Yeah.
Am I correct in assuming, based on the horns, that he is a Metis as well?
Yep.
So as soon as I see him say all that and turn and start walking, I follow him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to
All right.
follow as well.
Yeah. Yep. We'll go.
He takes you through the trees, and it's kind of interesting because there comes a point where you're walking straight, and he kind of seems to pivot and very purposefully walk around or give wide berth to a certain area and kind of rejoin a main path. You're not quite sure what that was, but you do come to a cave, and across the cave there is strung up a woolen blanket, and he kind of moves it aside and walks through.
I'm gonna ask him what that beeline was about.
He's ignoring you.
I'm going to make sure that when we went by there, that I kept track of where that was.
Okay.
The blanket that's on the line, does it seem like it's like hanging out to dry, or if it's like to block something?
It seems that this might be some sort of a shelter, and this particular woolen blanket was strung up for warmth to keep the cold out.
Oh. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna look at Whisper and be like, "Hey, you need a blanket, man?"
As I'm slowing Krino's form, you see kind of this weird, it's almost like a smile that you'd see off of a dog, but it's just like really it's very small. And so this like very slight smile, and then just Whisperer will just be like, and then open up the blanket and move inside, assuming that he's not stopped.
No, not at all. And actually, as you go in, you do see a small fire, and over it is what looks to be just like an iron pot filled with this really, really good smelling, looks like a venison stew, frankly, is what it looks like. And you can see off to the corner, there's a couple big stacks of blankets, like by the dozens, these wool blankets, and they've been they're very purposely laid out. This looks to be a place where it may be a shelter in case of bad weather or inclement weather. And the individual that introduced himself as the warder of the cairn kind of just turns to you and says that, get some sleep. It's late. You smell like shit, especially you. He's smelling
hard on that.
The teeth brushing.
We immediately all look at Marrow real quick and then look back.
I'll just smile at him and look back. Pleasant fellow.
I'm sure he is. And he kind of walks through the woolen blanket, and you can see he kind of posts up, almost as if he's there to guard the entrance, if you will.
I'm going to really quickly ask him before he manages to leave out. Is there another pot where I could melt some water, or melt some snow for water?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, he'll point and say, sure, over there. And I mean, this is kind of a creature comfort place. This has got, he's inviting you to get food and warmth and water and rest because of your ordeal and because of what you're about to be doing. It's almost as if he was expecting you.
Now, as soon as I've picked up some snow, I'll put it so I can melt and get warm for some sort of cleansing, and then I will give the bathrobe back to Marrow.
Okay.
Fold it neatly and gingerly.
Okay. And as he's sort of turned his back on you and begins walking out, you can see that just it kind of was there before, and you could see that he had this large sort of sword at his side. It kind of, but werewolf sized, so 6 feet. We're talking. It would be comical if I tried to wield it like Cloudbuster's sword style. But you get this feeling because you were right there next to him and he kind of walked by you. The hilt of the sword almost brushes by you, and you feel this instant reaction to your skin, that this almost like searing, as if it's made of silver. And you get this kind of like, ow. Now, one thing you do know is that there is something called a clave, usually a knife or dagger of pretty significant size, that is used in sort of some ritualistic werewolf cultures and these other things. And there is something called a grand clave. And for a metis to be carrying a grand clave and to only be a warder of rank at this sept, he has literally done something to please those above his station in some way. He is trusted. And he literally, once he is done giving you the creature comforts, shuts the wool blanket, steps outside, and you see him kind of leaning on that sword, kind of putting at the tip of the ground and kind of leaning on it in a kind of a ready stance. And he does not move.
Well, I feel pretty at ease, honestly, about this. I'm just going to tuck into that stew and take every advantage of the creature comforts that have been afforded to me.
It is delicious.
I'm also going to grab some stew. Oh, yes, perfect. Right for a cold day, and grab some stew. And as we're all sitting there eating, can I use my fairy light gift and just play with a orb of light as we're all just kind of... do I need to make a roll for this?
Well, so check out your check out the sheet, actually, and I literally pulled
Wits plus Enigma.
Yep. And does it say anything about an expenditure of Gnosis or anything? I don't think this one does.
If you want it to last for the entire scene, but I just temporarily, just so everybody can get some entertainment out of it.
Yeah. In other words, it's basically like a freebie, but if you're using it, quote, in combat where you want it to do something, it's going to cost you a Gnosis to sustain it and concentrate over it over the course of that scene. So yeah. So you use the gift fairy lights and you're playing with that. So at this point, I'll be kind of skipping into the kind of restful period of the night. So if there's anything that anyone wants to do to sort of make sure that they get their rest, their food, the blankets and wrapping up, and maybe trading a wool blanket for a bathrobe or vice versa, depending on how that turns out, you'll have to figure that out amongst yourselves. But unless there are any other important bits, we'll jump ahead to the night's rest.
Whisper is definitely going to ensure that he is cleaned and smelling proper for if we're going to meet a leader or anything, and then we'll wrap up in a nice blanket.
Taking some of that stew, just a fistful of it, into the pocket of the bathrobe because I might get hungry for a snack later.
We'll say there's also some dried meats and dried fruits that are available for your taking, because again, this is meant as a place of hospitality. Okay, so you take your fill, you eat and drink your fill. There's plenty of, like I said, those blankets and maybe some other creature comforts that you might be able to partake in, and eventually just exhaustion from the rite of passage, from the ordeal, from your battle at the chemical factory with your just journeying, and just this entire ordeal just draining each of you, and finally finding a place of rest, calm, peace, and sleep. So, of course, in the middle of the night, you are awoken by an absolutely just haunting series of howls, just horrible, long, mournful howls, as you hear just one piercing above all others and several sort of echoing it. And this is the long, I mean, we're talking like the opera singer with the long high note of a howl here. It is absolutely impressive, especially to the Galliard of the group.
I will join them and just try to match or try to synchronize with them.
So before you do that, I need a perception plus rituals roll from our Galliard, please.
Perception and rituals?
Yes, please. So you'll go to the perception, which is the attribute at the top. Perception is a mental, so it's on the right.
And what's a success on the roll?
It's going to be difficulty 6, standard difficulty. If I do not give you one, or if I screw up and forget to give you one, it's always going to be 6. 1 success. Okay, so you recognize this as Howl of the Calling Pack. It's meant to summon the entire sept. And you hear this undertone underneath it of a howl of mourning that is also just piercing through, as if multiple galliards are layering this idea of communicating with the entire sept. And in that moment, you hear several footsteps of several more individuals that are joining the gentleman outside the menace with the Grand Clave. And you hear a couple quick barks, and then nothing. However, because Bo speaks with shadows, I had told you that the entire sept of the Winter Wolf would be your, quote, scene for heightened senses. You did go to sleep, so we'll say this is kind of groggy, but the howl woke you up pretty good out of that. So I'll say you kind of were in tune a little bit. We'll say that little remnant there was still there. And your gifted ears kind of perk up, and you hear this idea of, you only hear snippets of the conversation. The pack is dead. The entire pack, both packs, we've lost them both. And that's all you hear. And then, yeah. So I'll give you all a moment to react to that.
Okay, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna kind of like whisper to everyone, like low tone, and be like, I think I heard this wrong, or maybe I didn't, but everyone's dead.
I'm gonna lean in and whisper, that I don't know about that, but they're definitely summoning everybody to the cairn or something.
Who? If they're dead though, who's summoning?
Can I just to shorten things up? Can I explain to them what you explained to me?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. All right. So my character would explain that to you guys.
Yes. And Bo, you like to clarify, you overheard the pack is dead. Both packs are dead. A cairn or a sept typically has multiple packs of a level, etc. So it's not like everyone's dead. It's like,
like the ones we were in a competition with are dead, I guess. Like the ones they sent out for this artifact, those ones are dead.
You knew they died first. They died before you were dispatched. But now they're saying another pack has died. Another entire pack has been destroyed. This is not usual. And these are the end times here. Like the eye of the worm is upon us from the prophecy that the doom is coming. So we're like losing warriors at a rate of 2 packs a day. It's like a bad smoking habit. Like,
it's a bad habit.
Right?
Yeah. I will tell them, I'll just kind of relay that and say, I don't know about what's going on, but I think the worm is approaching.
Whisperer will immediately see if he can find a good location within the cave where he can be kind of out of sight but still be able to see the main entrance, so that there's like at least something between him and the main entrance.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. You find a spot toward the back of this cave, which it's pretty decent size. I mean, you're not like all cramped together, and you feel like there could be several packs worth of Garou in the cave at one time, and be crowded, but there to shelter out a storm. And so just as you find your footing in a little cubby hole back there, it's fun. We have Whisperer and Speaks with Shadows, and then Whisperer is in the shadow, but you're speaking anyway. Okay, so just as soon as you get to that comfy spot, the woolen blanket is literally torn from the opening. Not like the door opens, but literally the blanket is shredded by a pair of Krynos claws. Not quite as tall as that massive menace that you met on the way in, but certainly twice as impressive in some way. Somehow this Garou is just scarred, covered, rippling. Everything about this thing is just screams, dude, you are, in Samuel L. Jackson's terms, one bad MFer. And so he walks in, he says, "Welcome, young pups from the Sept of the Green. I am Frostbite, blessed by Wendigo and Fenrir himself to lead this cairn. You arrived during a time of great mourning. We've lost a second pack of cubs. entering the rite of passage. Is the tortured cries of the howl of mourning you hear a right to honor those departed Guru? He kind of looks just seething mad, and he looks at you and says, why have you come to the sept of the Winter Wolf on the very evening of the murder of our cubs?
I'm going to let the rest of them speak as I just howl and I match whatever tone that they are there.
And with that, he'll even actually turn more to you now. Who the hell are you, and why should I not slaughter where you stand? And who the hell are you to mourn our departed? You haven't proved yourself.
You just flashed their gang colors, dude. Way to go.
Past, man. I don't know.
I'm going to use my gift of persuasion.
Before you do that, do me a favor. Roll wits plus etiquette.
Wits and etiquette. Okay.
Yes, please.
Oh.
This is my way as a storyteller to enact what's called the common sense merit, which you all inherently have. I did forget to mention, but basically, before you do something that has potential, we'll leave it at that.
Well, what's the difficulty? Is it 6?
Diff 6. 2. Okay. Using a gift on an elder, apparently much elder Guru, without their permission is probably
okay.
Into throwing a punch.
Okay, so I wouldn't do that then. I would just remind him that all life is precious, no matter what pack we hail from. We got to stick together in these times of the weird pressing us.
He looks at you kind of like a hungry wolf would eye a lamb that had gotten its back leg caught in some brambles. And even the salivating, everything, the whole 9 yards. He's in full Krenos, just impressive.
I know that look.
Shadows.
And he just looks at you all and says, again, why should I not slaughter you where you stand?
Speaks of shadows.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'll I'm enjoying the show, just chilling. But then I'll be like, oh yeah, all right. And I'll like pull it out with my teeth and like, this thing right here. This is this flower here.
He kind of looks at that, and as soon as he sees it, he does kind of soften a little bit, but you can see he's not currently super convinced yet. Like, yeah, I mean, you get the feeling that a pack died.
Yeah.
That was supposed to get that, and here you are showing up with it.
It's like, yeah, we got it first. And so what's his name? Silver something or other, the guy who sent us.
True Silver Heels, yeah.
True Silver Heels.
Yeah, that one, he sent us. Yeah, man, that's like why we're here.
Before he can like really react to that, I'm getting real nervous. Not nervous enough to like change forms. I'm still my Hammond form, but I'm just gonna stand between him and Lissa because I just don't like the dynamic that's going on here.
Okay.
Am I still Hispo? I don't know if it changed.
Would like to change.
No,
yeah,
no.
Shifting forms is not like, uncouth in werewolf society, right?
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
So that's not a big deal.
Okay, I still wanted to be that. I just did I sleep and all of a sudden I'm back to my other form? But no, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure.
I mean, it's just the idea. You wouldn't necessarily be Hamid trying to speak in Guru because it's like, Klingon, but with something caught in your throat. And so the idea is that you say it much more easily with a wolfen sort of body. So when you're in Hamid, you would just speak English and hope they understand English.
Yeah.
Pointing at, or not, I guess not pointing since I'm in Hispo, but I will kind of nod towards the artifact and say, well, we were able to garnish the artifact where others have failed, but we want to bridge the gap between the two.
Prove yourself.
We got it.
I feel like I just did.
Didn't we get this? Didn't we? Isn't that the proof?
What is
Prove
your proof?
yourself worthy of forging peace once again between us and the Separate Green. Prove that you were not involved in the murder of our pack. In fact, enter
I don't have any blood.
into the Umbra and bring me the skull of its tyrant lizard from Pangea. Then I will accept your offering. And he walks over and actually he takes it from you and says, then I will accept your offer of peace and you will have proved yourself worthy seekers of peace.
Skull of a tyrant? What?
The skull of a tyrant lizard.
I mean, like, yeah, man, you took it. Yeah.
Okay, looks like we're going to find the way to find this tyrant lizard.
I'll just nod at him and just hum.
In English.
Unfazed by his form at me.
I'm just gonna look at him and be like, I mean, if you need the pack to the green to solve more of your problems, I guess we're your guys. I'm just gonna like flex my human muscles.
Looks like it's up to our pack to do it again.
All right, forgive me, but with that taunt, he's going to roll. He is going to roll his rage against Frenzy.
No.
Accept it.
The leader may not, sir. The leader may not be challenged during wartime.
I wasn't
challenging him.
Stepping and stretching aggressively.
Nice quoting the litany. Well done. Okay.
I remember that being a thing. I gotta look it up now.
So, well, we don't have any Philodoxes in the group. So someone quoting the litany, it would be the third, if it's not the Philodox. It's sort of like the Philodox is kind of like expecting the paladin to quote the law. I mean, I am the law, but there it is. So, all right. He is able to control himself, but you can see the fury in his voice just crackling. And he says,
I respect the term.
you have not earned the right to speak with me that way, cub. And he'll throw something to you, and you kind of catch it, and you look at it, and it is it looks to be a small skull of a bird of some sort. Ever seen one?
A bird?
So, for Speaks with Shadows and Whisperer, I would like you both to roll me a Wits plus Enigmas roll.
Oh, let's go. All right.
Lord, that's a lot.
Yeah, I'm like, do I have enough?
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
I need to reach in and grab one more D10. I'll just roll this one twice.
The difficulty. So. Do 10s explode or not?
10s only explode if you have 4 or higher in one of the sort of optional wits plus that.
I've got 4 in wits.
Okay, so then yes, they would explode.
So.
Oh, how did Speaks with Shadows do?
What do I have to beat? 6s?
Yeah.
Let's see. I got 4.
Nice. You both instantly recognize this, even though he threw it to to Marrow. It's it's there. So he threw it to Marrow. But both Speaks with Shadows and Whisper instantly recognize it as a talon, a one-time use fetish. And this looks like a path stone where it's tied to this sept. Crushing it will open up a moon bridge to this sept. So number one, crush it with intention, not accidentally, or well, we'll see. But anyway, he kind of turns around after seeing the two of you have some recognition of it, like, ooh, because these aren't like super common things. He's giving some trust here. But after the comment from Marrow, he's not really offering any more explanations. And he turns around and walks out of the cave, regardless of what anyone says at this point, and nods to a much smaller and more lithe guru who has jet black fur over the course of its entire body, a very distinctly feminine body. And this particular guru, she opens what appears to be another moon bridge for you all. We're kind of skipping ahead a little bit for time's sake. And says, enjoy your journey.
Oh wow, thanks, man. And I'll like go through.
Whisper will immediately follow as well, while attempting to think of whatever a tyrant lizard might be. So, is there anything I could roll for to try to figure that out?
You certainly could. And I will say, actually, since you've spoken up, Whisper, on your way through, you get an approving nod from the Metis, the one with the Grand Clave.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of looks at you and kind of gives you a little bit of a nod. And so what you could roll for me, as far as the tyrant lizard goes, it would be an intelligence, because it has to do with a body of knowledge. So intelligence, and then science.
Science. Oh, hey, I've got 2 in that. Yay.
I can do that. Sorry, got your character sheet right here.
All right. And that's difficulty 6.
Diff 6. Actually, diff 7 on this one. I'm looking for a certain number of successes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm starting out with 4. And since I've got 4 in intelligence, I've got 2 dice I get to reroll.
There
Okay.
you go.
Oh, wait, no, that one doesn't go because the other one was a 1. So yeah, 4 total.
Okay. You kind of laugh in your mind as you're walking through entering through the gauntlet into the Umbra and onto the Moon Bridge, and as you're sort of progressing through, as you're walking along and you're walking on the Moon Bridge, you're getting that distinct sense of heightened elevation, but you're getting a sense of warmth and humidity rather than icy cold and dryness. And so it's kind of like a different climate that you're entering. And as that happens, you're like, jungle, no, maybe forest, but like summertime. And then you're thinking back to prehistoric jungles for a second, and it clicks. Tyrant lizard, king lizard. Wait a minute.
T-Rex?
That there is something called a Tyrannosaurus Rex that he just asked me to. And you have this moment, you literally stop walking, you turn around, did he? Yes, he did.
Oh, Lord. Whisper just kind of goes, T-Rex.
So you're on the Moon Bridge, it's starting to get nice and warm, you're kicking off the woolen blankets, you're feeling good, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Whisperer stops and says, T-Rex.
I'm sorry. A what?
I'm absolutely going to change shape to Krynos. And I think I'm going to use my ability Sharpen Claws. So I'm just going to find like a big enough rock and
Gotcha.
yeah, the bear friend of mine taught me this. And I'm going to sharpen my boys.
I will tell you that is good for a scene. Like if you feel like you're going to get ready to get into combat, then that's a good thing to do. Or first round of combat also, depending upon how things go. I might recommend you save your rage.
I say never mind, and then I dull them up real quick.
It costs
They go up against some
1
rocks
rage.
and like.
Yeah, right nearby. It's that moment in the Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman where he like on the column, and then like they sparkle and he's ready to go.
Sparkle! It's a full circle.
It's finally happening.
Oh, couldn't help it. Our pregame conversation has now come back to haunt us,
Yeah.
or literally bite us, depending upon. Oh,
Yeah.
I went there too.
Team
Okay,
Edward, that's
so
all I'm going to say. Team Edward for life.
all right, as you're getting down to the end of the Moon Bridge, you kind of find yourself almost kind of sliding down the last little bit. Your force is going so quickly, and you find yourself in another forest, a beautiful, warm, summer, balmy day, like summer rains had just hit. You're seeing wildflowers all over the place. And as you're looking around, you notice that each of you, without really noticing it, like you felt it, but it wasn't really conscious, you have all shifted into the lupus form, the wolf form. And it's interesting because Whisperer, you notice that you are in wolf form as per usual, but you've got patches of hair. that weren't there
I
before.
see that and I laugh. I'm like,
I will also laugh with him.
yeah. That's
And
like, it's
as
so
they're kind of looking
splotchy.
at you and laughing, the hair becomes less patchy and you begin getting more full, almost Uktena. So like kind of like this blackish, like almost like a black timber wolf, real badass looking. Just and all of a sudden, there you
Nice.
are. And it's interesting because you're not sure what's going on because this has never happened to you before. And in fact, all of you are more wolfish in your forms, more traditional wolf, even like whatever your lupus form is with this, the nice snout for Speaks of Shadows, right? It's more thick snout and nozzle, right? I mean, like thinking more, less jackal, more pit bull almost, like timber wolf, big, heavy, thick snout.
Noticing this, I'm just kind of dance around a little bit, excited.
So we all go into lupus form then. Is what
You
you're
are all
saying.
in
Like, but it's a more savage lupus, right?
A little bit more, yeah.
Okay.
Not I wouldn't say maybe not savage, but
Yeah.
certainly more true, more wild.
Feral. Okay.
But not
Animalistic.
Krynos form is what you're saying.
Yeah, not creative. Yeah, like a wolf, but more like animal wolf. Like not that trapped wolf, that sad thing behind the gates at the zoo wolf, but the wolf that you bump into in the wild that still has that cold eyes
Cool.
that sees you. Okay.
All right.
And you hear a gunshot. A tree next to you explodes with a heavy gauge of some sort of ballistic impact, and you hear shouting, "There they are! Get them!" And you see an entire group of what looks to be fully decked out hunters, and
We can
they've
take
got dog catches, and they've got rifles, and there are a good 8 or 10 of them, and they are running. They're a good 100 yards away right now, but you can see them very crisply. You can see them, right? Your wolf eyes, you can see this. And they're running after you. And behind them, you see a pickup truck. And mounted on the back of the pickup truck is a series of a couple of large kennels or cages.
And we're still in the Umbra?
Yes, you
And
are still
this
in
is
there.
happening?
Yes, that's correct.
How did they get on into the Umbra side? What
mystical pickup truck.
I need a wits.
It's
plus-
definitely a Ford then. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll take a wits plus occult roll from the Thurges, please.
Woohoo.
Difficulty 8.
And occult?
Yep.
Oh Jesus,
So-
that's 8 dice for me.
Hey,
That's
me
correct.
too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yes, that's
Nice.
correct.
You said difficulty 8?
To keep adding to my dice that I've got here.
Difficulty 8. Yeah, with anything White Wolf, I usually grab a stack of about 10 10-siders if I'm playing and about 20 if I'm running.
Well, I'll be running here soon, so that makes sense. I know what you mean.
Yes,
I'm just being dumb.
But
I run when chased. So.
Yeah. All right.
Speaking of which,
One explodes.
okay.
Uh,
Okay, so with 2 successes, Whisperer, how's Bo, how's Speaks with Shadows doing?
what do I have to beat? 6, 7?
With 8.
I have to beat 8? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So we both had 2.
Wait, sorry, 3. Haha, I had 2 9s
Okay,
and a 10.
so 3 and 2 successes. Both of you have heard from your studies of different aspects of the Umbra, different realms within the Umbra. And it kind of clicks that Pangea is like this primordial realm where the wild is at its most pure. And it would kind of make sense that there might be realms
Hunters.
that are tied to the different aspects of spirituality, this animistic spirituality that you're experiencing as a guru, and this spirit and physical duality that sort of befits your existence. And so I will tell you, I would probably tease this out in a longer game and really kind of dig in that you don't know, and I'm going to really get the most out of this, squeeze the most out of this kind of thing. But suffice it to say, eventually you figure out you are in a place called Wolf Home.
I let everyone else know that.
One of
Yeah.
your own.
Hey guys, we're home.
Yeah. Why would there be hunters in Wolfhome? This is not a good thing.
Okay.
We probably should move.
Another shot rings over
Yeah,
your
I should
head.
probably
They're
run,
now 80
just
yards
bounce.
away.
We're going.
What's the lighting in this area?
Bright sunny day, except in the
Ugh.
shade of the trees, of course.
Let's run as a pack, gang.
Never
Let's
mind.
get out
Time
of
to
here.
run.
In my Hispo form, I would like to book it.
Okay. You fail when you try to shift into the Hispo form
Ooh.
automatically. In fact, you feel you are barred from your other forms.
Guys, and I'll just let them know that I failed trying to shift.
Yeah, it's time to go. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's.
Run.
It's
You
not,
begin running. Another ballistic impact strikes a tree nearby and almost literally explodes the tree. And then as you're running, we'll say for interest of time that you're all kind of running a little bit kind of side by side in this almost like line of four, like, flying V formation, but it's a W for werewolf. And then
That's right.
you
2
do
feet.
notice that
3.
a single dart with a red sort of fluffy tail on the back of it strikes the tree just next to Whispers.
Oh.
This is bad news. This is bad news, wolves. That's what I'm saying.
Bad news wolves. Worst news wolves.
Worst news wolves. I like it.
Yeah.
Should we
Can I
split up?
try? Can I?
They are
Shoot.
50 yards away.
Oh man, can I whip out my pistol and shoot over my shoulder to kind of give us some cover here?
You do not have an opposable thumb.
As
You
a
are
wolf.
Ah, sick. All right, yeah, I love it.
Here, tell
Is
me.
there-
You pull it out and I'll try and pull it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Are there any
Yes,
other?
okay.
Are there any other like animal spirits close to us?
No,
None whatsoever. Okay.
none. They're 30 yards away.
Should we like do because we're together, should we split, go around and then meet to kind of like throw them off, like kind of split them up, bring them out, and then we run again?
You can try it.
You can try
20
it.
yards.
Let's do it.
Whisper splits off to the right.
I'll go left.
I'll go
Hello,
left,
Whisper.
and I'll go left.
Not that I don't want to be with you, Whisper. I just figured that we probably should be
Split,
one on
yeah.
each side. Yeah.
10
Yeah, I'll
yards.
go with Speak with Shadows.
All right.
So we're gonna do like a circle where we're gonna split up and then eventually kind of come back together.
So you split up and you manage to kind of get to the point where you're trying to outrun, outflank, outmaneuver, kind of get past, etc. But these now you're just hearing the roar of the engines, and you're hearing the dirt churning of basically these ATVs that they're now on and chasing you. And so getting the sense of like, you've got a truck, you've got hunters, you've got ATV, they're literally pulling out all the stops. They've got like Jurassic Park style, trying to flag down one of those dinosaurs with the big hoop things, right? I don't know what the term for that is. I'm not an animal control
You
specialist.
don't capture dinosaurs on the regular.
You know,
I mean, live a
I
life,
don't
man.
anymore. It got too bad for the back. So
Quick question.
They call it butterfly net.
that was the word. Thank you.
So they have ATVs and a truck.
The truck
that
is back
correct?
in the open area, but now you're more in the woods. They're using ATVs to kind of go the forested trails to chase you all.
Okay.
And
I
you
kind of want to
just
turn
get
and
this
look.
distinct-
Sorry.
This distinct feeling of just being chased, like bearing down on you, like you're.
I'm going to turn back and look at whatever ATV is closest to me. And I'm going to use my create element gift. And I'm going to start one of the tires on fire.
Okay. You go to
Nice.
reach for the gifts of Luna and the gifts of your Guru form and the spirits, and you are unable to activate the gift. And it really throws you for a loop. This is not like you've not heard of this
It
before.
was a trap. It was a trap.
All right, you needed more successes, but anyway. So you're just thrown for a loop, and you are just feeling chased and hunted like
Whisper's getting very annoyed by this.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh,
You
I
can't
was gonna
help but
say,
feel,
so
yeah.
have we gotten to a point where we've come together, or are they getting closer and closer the more that we're like looping back?
You gained a little bit of ground by doing that, but they are still right on your heels. And it is this feeling of being chased, of being hunted, like some kind of
Some kind of animal? Is that what you're trying to say?
And as soon as that thought enters your mind, that you feel like an animal, you burst through the trees into a shaded glen. And entering this glen will now allow you to see that you hear the calls, the cries of the hunter, and the gunfire kind of subside a little bit. And into the glen, you feel a sense of peace. And walking through it, stepping into the glen, you feel the wildflowers underneath your feet almost tingle your senses. And you look around and you find yourself in a place that feels more savage.
Huh.
And as soon as you step into this world, your three companions burst into the same glen and walk through the wildflowers and feel the same peace.
Like, oh wow, hey guys, how you doing?
This is so beautiful. I love this.
I dropped the bathrobe back there. I don't know how I'm going to emotionally recover from that.
That had the stew in it, didn't it?
It did. It did have the stew in it.
Damn.
You know where your towel is.
Yeah, gotta have your towel.
Nice. Okay. So now, as you have arrived in this more sort of the world where everything is like just teeming with life, you could almost think of this idea of, remember the Avatar movie, James Cameron, right? This idea of this just explosion of life and living things around you. And everything seems to be more wild and just more rich in color and smell. And even yourselves, you're all sort of noticing that you've grown in musculature and you've shifted into hispo. It's almost that same kind of natural progression. It seems you're getting the sense, which if we had a longer game, we would have unpacked this a little differently, but you're getting the sense that the Wendigo tribe leader, the Wendigo sept leader, of the Sept of the Winter Wolf, basically said, okay, city boys, let's send you on a journey.
Is this a spirit quest?
Man, I hate those. They're always so highfalutin.
Well,
so we would be, at least the Thurges, would we be aware that this is a spirit quest at this point?
Yes, I'll give that without a roll. Absolutely. So you are all in hispo form now. As you've sort of like surged through the entryway, you are now in what is known as Pangea, the primordial umbra, the absolute wild. The sense of wild is just completely permeating everything around you. Right. And the tribal differences between the coats of fur is gone. You are all a ruddy brown color, all the exact same color. And Whisperer, you have just as full a coat as everyone else, and it is the exact same color. Bonar, Marrow, you don't have matted, patched, kind of nasty fur like a mangy mutt, like a mangy wolf dog. Yours is full and thick like everyone else's. In fact, it almost appears as if you were the same tribe here, as if this was a time from before the division of the Guru into the different tribes.
I laugh at Whisper, like, nice hair.
Look at yourself in a, well, I would say a mirror, but no.
Looking awesome.
I think you look great, Whisper.
I also think that you look great.
Hair.
Just kind of pulls up one paw and kind of goes.
Do I smell any lizards nearby?
Do you smell any lizards? Well, I suppose you could make a roll for that. I would say perception plus Well, that's kind of the thing about the storyteller system is that sometimes I'm gonna put it on you. What do you think you would be rolling right now?
I mean, perception's fine. I'm trying maybe like I don't know. I haven't read them all.
I mean, I would accept survival. I would accept primal urge, possibly.
Survival's cool.
All right, go ahead and roll it. Let's hear
Just
it.
survival.
Nope, it would be perception plus survival or wits
okay.
plus survival, depending upon what approach you were trying to take.
I'll do smell. I think I'll just pick.
Okay.
So I'll probably just put perception.
Yeah.
If everything
nice
has
Go ahead.
so if everything has a spiritual counterpart from the real world to the Umbra,
Yep. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way to use my fetish to maybe track a tyrant lizard.
All right. The spirit tracer fetish you're talking about?
Mhm.
All right. Hold that thought. Bo, how's speaks do?
What do I gotta beat? 6, 7, 8?
We'll call it diff 6. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. You are here in Pangea. It is -2, so it is 4.
Oh, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Great. You have no idea what a Tyrannosaurus Rex smells like, but you kind of smell meat, carrion, trees. You smell earth, fresh, just thick, rich earth. You're not sure if any of those are indicative. Yeah, I mean, like you get all of the smells. You get it. It just you don't know which one to key into yet.
Okay.
So, let's do it. Okay, so the fetish is a human hair suspended on an iron ingot. When the wielder activates the fetish and concentrates upon a specific spirit, the ingot pulls in that direction. It works only for tracking spirits. So, yay for reading your character sheet. It's funny because I actually included that in the original story because it was part of the pre-made characters that I sort of riffed off of to do these. So that was an accident, but happy accidents work too. So if you would like to use that, I am totally fine with that.
Okay. So,
All right.
How do I go about using that mechanically speaking?
You must concentrate.
Okay.
And think about your prey.
So definitely thinking about a T-Rex, imagining as best I can from whatever I might have picked up through the years, as I haven't gone to school apparently, nor would I have necessarily been to a museum or anything. So I'm going off of whatever I've managed to pick up listening to the other werewolves that may have actually been to school.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say that you probably would know. I mean, there's a certain assumption that every adolescent child, whether girl or boy, goes through that dinosaurs are just the coolest thing ever. And so my son included right now. And so I will say, yeah, you have a pretty good idea of what, at least you've seen the skeleton of one to kind of, Natural History Museum or whatever, New York City. There's plenty of opportunities to see that. I'll say yes, of course, but you're getting a sense that it's pulling in a direction that's leading you kind of through the jump to it and almost kind of up this hill. You can see that you're not at the base of a mountain, but kind of like on an incline of sorts where you've got this, it's not flat, even ground. It's just this big kind of incline. So, I mean, for reference, if you're kind of going uphill to go towards that particular essence, and this will kind of help orient us just in case.
So I kind of look at the rest and go, and start following the pull of the tracer.
Okay. Feeling talkative today. And I'll just follow him.
So Cole, Heather's bloom is like, wow, he hasn't talked this much in a while or ever. And then all of a sudden we're following this little rock that's floating. You're confused. And Marrow, you're also like, what is this? Speaks with shadows. You're like, oh yeah, follow the ingot. Like,
yeah, I say, well, yes, that's cool. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Can you explain the little stone to me?
Speaks with shadows and Whisperer look at each other like, duh, because you both have one.
I got one.
Okay, so now you reach a certain point where the hill is starting to open up, and you're getting a sense that the trees have opened up a little bit here, and it's just this really beautiful underbrush, and the smell of things is just getting to the point where it just teeming with life again, like flowers and animals and birds and all of that. It's just one of those things that as you're going through it, you hear off in the distance this just intense sound, this huge roar.
Was her will immediately like flatten down a little bit, like like how like cats or dogs will immediately like drop if there's something that scares them a little bit.
Okay. So it's not only one of those things where it kind of interrupts your senses, but imagine the sheer lungs on a dinosaur, right? Imagine the amount of resonance that's going to be able to happen from a skull like this. And it shakes you to the core for the not a briefest moment, but for a good bit. So, all right. Now, crashing through the woods, trees just moved aside like they were tinker toys. A giant tyrant, king of lizards, if you will, smashes into the small clearing where you had found yourselves, joking about a rock on a stake. And so, rock on a hair.
I was about to be like, to be like a tyrant of lizards, you got to be pretty cold blooded. As it's like,
if this was 5th edition, you all will have gained inspiration like 5 times over by now. The mechanic for that in the White Wolf system is quite simply none. So I encourage you to freely award bonuses or reduction in difficulties and things like that. Speaking of reduction in difficulties, the standard initiative roll is difficulty 4. Wits plus alertness, difficulty 4, please.
Wits plus alertness.
Wits plus alertness.
And we can't change shapes, right?
No, you are in Hispo to stay.
Now, if we do not have any dots in alertness, do we get 1 die for that, or is it 0?
It's wits plus alertness. You have at least 1 in wits. So
I have 4 in wits, but I have nothing in alertness.
Oh!
Then you roll your 4 die. Difficulty 4.
Am I in the Umbra?
So, yes, you are in the Umbra.
I got 3 1s.
Oh.
And 1 7.
Okay. So
I'm -2, baby.
Well, so interestingly enough, it's entering the Umbra that is the problem when a Silent Strider botches.
Okay.
Not while in the Umbra.
Okay.
So, however, it's good to know that you'll be going last.
Yeah,
so,
that's fine.
I'm sorry, Mark. How many did you get for Marrow? You got 2. Okay. So Cole and Mark, I kind of use the old standard rule of who has the higher dexterity, and we'll kind of go from there. So
my dexterity is 4.
It's you, Cole.
okay. So I've got Whisper is first, and then I've got Heather's Bloom is next, and then we have Marrow, and then we have me. And then we have Speak with Shadows. Okay.
I'm laughing at my own joke.
I am. When at the top of this round right now, what I need to know is if anyone is going to be intending to use a gift that uses a Gnosis. You may not do it if you choose to spend rage for rage actions. Rage actions are like everyone goes and then I go again. It's like time stop in the D&D world, if you will, if you're kind of familiar with that spell, where I go 1d4 more times. And so basically, if you spend 3 rage, everyone takes their action, and then we go through those rage actions next. And if you spent rage, you get an extra turn for every point of rage that you spent. Of course, you might need rage to power your gifts or other things or some other stuff as well. So if that's the case, sort of be mindful of that. But usually, in my games, I like to cap it around 3 rage for rage actions, but rules is written, there's no cap. For today, for time's sake, we'll probably cap it at, let's see, you've got 3 if you want to do that. But that gives you 3 extra turns, so stop complaining though.
Quick point of order. Since I did try to activate create element, do I lose a gnosis from that attempt, or do I still have my full?
Great question. As a storyteller, you could look it up somewhere, but rules as spirit as intended. No, you didn't lose it. It just failed.
Okay.
You didn't do it, so you're fine.
Okay.
I just threw a T-Rex at 4 of you. I don't think I need to be nitpicky about rules. Anyway,
Before I say if I'm gonna actually do one, are there, with it being kind of like prehistoric or what have you, are there like vines around?
oh yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
then I'm probably gonna use one of my gifts.
Okay. All right. So you will not be spending rage. Anyone else? Is there anyone that's going to be spending rage?
I'll
Galliard?
be spending rage on my turn. I don't know if you can guess what it's going to be. It's going to be
Yep.
sharpened claws.
I'm sure. I would suggest that if you spend rage now for rage actions, you'd be able to spend your turn doing that, and then you'd have a number of turns to use said clause.
Totally went over my head.
Okay. Rage action, again, like free extra actions. So if you spend, Mary, how many rage do you have? Forgive me, I'm looking.
I've got 7 rage.
7 rage. Okay. You could spend 3 rage now, and then on your turn, spend a 4th point of rage, and you still got 3 left. And then what had happened is that, because on your turn, you'll have to spend your entire action to use the gift. So then you'd be sitting there with sharp claws, but nothing to do. You know, it's like getting all dressed up for the party and having nowhere to go. And then during the rage action period, you would get to go before the T-Rex would get to go again.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, spend 3 rage now. Then when my turn comes around, I can spend a 4th rage to do sharpen claws, and then I can
Yes.
do my fights and bites.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, Mero, I've got you at 3. Anyone else spending rage?
So if I understand you correctly, rage just lets you take an extra action on your turn, correct?
Well, we resolve all the actions on everyone's turn, just like normal combat initiative D&D style. But then literally you go again before we start initiative order again. You add yourself at the bottom of the initiative order for the number of times equal to the number of rage points you spend.
I'll spend a rage point.
Okay, so Heather's Bloom will spend 1.
So if I cast a gift, I can't use a rage. Is that what you're saying?
If you use a gift that requires rage, you can. If you use a gift that requires Gnosis, you may not use rage in this manner this time.
Okay, cool. Makes sense.
Right on. All right, so let's jump right in. Whisperer, you roll. You get to go. You got.
Yay!
You're looking and you're holding the ingot by the hair, and then you're looking forward, and there's this big mouth in front of you. You know.
Oh, there it is.
Immediately, I'm going to look up and be like, and immediately think of putting a ton of water in its mouth and nose using create elements. I'm going to drown this thing.
Okay, go for it.
So spend 1 gnosis, and I need to roll my gnosis in order to do this, right?
So okay,
I'm correct.
with create element, yeah. So you'll spend the gnosis, and essentially with this particular gift, I'm going to double check before I speak because I used to have pretty much all these things memorized, but I don't get a chance to run Werewolf as much as I would like to. Oh, and I grabbed the wrong character.
Says each success allows the character to create approximately 1 cubic foot of the desired element to a maximum weight of 100 pounds, anywhere he can see within 60 feet.
Yep.
The element remains in existence until used up.
Yep.
The flames are no substitute for flamethrower, but they inflict 1 health level of damage per success to a maximum of 3 health levels of damage.
Bingo. So you'll roll your Gnosis. And if you have spent Gnosis, that's okay. Roll your permanent Gnosis for this.
Okay. And it's difficulty 6 as well, correct?
Yep. Unless the gift said otherwise. Yeah.
Okay. So that. Oh wow. Okay. So that is an 8 and 2 10s, and I've got 6 Gnosis. So does that mean I re-roll the 10s?
Nope.
No.
No,
Okay.
those don't explode.
So that's a total of 3 that are above 6.
Okay, and according to the gift, that was how many cubic feet of material?
That would be 3 cubic feet of the desired element to a maximum weight of 100 pounds.
Okay. So you create, and it's like sort of nasal cavity, mouth, sinuses area, you know, several cubic feet worth of water, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like it's like
feet of water.
yeah. I mean, we're talking like not a bathtub full, but it's it's not a drop. Okay. So,
am I able to move as part of my turn, or?
I would recommend it.
Yes. So I'm going to like immediately. Well, I'm assuming that the spirit tracer I can like just kind of keep with me as I like immediately head off to the right.
Yeah, essentially you kind of like put it back into your little pocket. Essentially what happens is you have your fetishes and some of you a set of clothing maybe it's called dedicated to you. Essentially you kind of earmark a gnosis to through ritual you bond with these items and they kind of meld into you. So your hispo big direwolf paw is like holding the strand of human hair as it's going out and you're like, oh, okay, gift. And then you kind of reabsorb it back into you as you start,
Yeah, I'll move as quickly as I can off to the right to try to not be right next to it.
Okay. Perfect. So you move off to the right. Heather's Bloom, it is your turn. You are not in the very front of things, but you are certainly nearby.
Okay. I'm going to. Okay, so out of game, real quick. We were told to collect the skull of this thing, or yes?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I am going to run up and try to do a claw attack, I guess.
Okay. So what you will do is if you look at your character sheet and look at the back of that character sheet in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the different maneuvers that you've got. You see those?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what you'll end up doing is just looking down.
Dex plus brawl.
Yes, exactly right. So it's going to be Dex plus brawl. And your dexterity in Hispo is actually increased up to 6. So you've got a pretty substantial dice pool there. So if you're trying to claw, it's difficulty 6, and you'll do the number of dice that you have for your strength score plus 1, and you get aggravated damage for that, which is really cool.
And what is the difficulty?
The difficulty for each sort of combat maneuver is in that brawl chart on the bottom right-hand corner of your character sheet. So for instance, a claw is difficulty 6. A bite is difficulty 5. So you can see there's the different pieces there.
4 successes.
Tackle, grapple. So how many successes?
4 successes.
Great. And with this, degree of success is important, but you only need the 1 to connect. So you literally, with 1 success, you connect. So your new strength in your Hispo form, which Heather's Bloom, I've got you at strength of 6.
Yeah.
So plus 1. So you roll 7 dice, diff 6. These do not explode, unfortunately.
Now it says plus 1 to bite damage. Do I need to add another one?
Yes. So it'd be strength plus 2 in that regard.
Okay, so I'm rolling 8.
Bingo.
And difficulty 7. Okay.
Well, difficulty 6 for damage, though.
Oh, okay. 2.
Okay. All right. So you deal 2 points of aggravated damage to the Tyrannosaurus Rex, coming in and clawing it. Where were you sort of aiming? Like body, face?
Probably lower extremity somewhere.
Okay.
Like
so
legs
right
or something.
Okay, like haunches.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
And also to kind of move myself out of the way of being in its jaws.
Okay. This scene reminds me of a pack of wolves trying to take down a bear, like a dire bear, but scaly and bigger with a tail. Okay,
like
cool.
a pack of wolves taking down a T-Rex.
It's happened many times.
Yeah, it's on the daily, dude. You got to get back into your day job. Go hunt Go
Net
hunt
Geo.
T-Rexes again.
At least there's not polka blaring in the background and it's a zombie T-Rex. All right, so Mero, hit me.
All right, so I'm going to spend a rage to do my sharpened claw.
There it is. Okay.
And
so
that means
is your
since I
action.
spent 3 rage, I can 3 times or 2 times because I just spent one of those rages.
So you spent your rage and you did your gift. That is your action.
Yeah.
So now what'll happen is it will get to go. Speaks with Shadows will get to go. Heather's Bloom will get 1 free action because she spent a rage, and you will get 3 full actions because you spent 3 rage.
Oh my god.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, so Mero, you find a rock nearby and you just rake both sets of claws over it, and they are shiny and sharp and ready to go. Please notice it's not just a lower difficulty, but there's also a bonus to damage. So take a peek at all those. Okay. Now, so my turn. The one in front of it, well, Speaks with Shadows, you're in front of it. And also Mero, you are in front of it. The good news is you all look the same. Mostly the same, a little bit, maybe different sizes, what have you. But the one that just swiped at it, that's near its haunches, that's nipping at its heels, is Heather's Bloom. So it is going to be going after you. So the lucky thing is that it only has 4 dice to try to hit you, because it's got a dexterity of 2 and a brawl of 2. The unfortunate thing is that its strength is a little heavy. Let's just say I hope I brought enough dice.
Quick
Okay.
question.
Shoot, go for it.
It's got a nose and mouth full of water.
Yeah.
That's a true statement. It does have.
Yeah. Look at that.
So let's see if it's going to be able, before we resolve this, let's see if it's going to be able to kind of clear that out. I'm going to say that's going to take a stamina roll to try and clear that out with any real expediency. You got 3 successes. I'm going to roll my stamina, and I'm going to say that I need to equal or exceed your number of successes. Be kind of a contested roll because I don't want to look at the rules and take up more of our time. So 6, 7, 8. I have 8 dice. Oh, there's a 1 in there. Only 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Right on.
Okay.
Yes.
The ones went out. Ooh, those ones are just nasty in White Wolf stuff. Okay. Hey, it can go for or against real quick.
I know.
Just warning you. Okay. Now, so it does clear the almost like a snot rocket, just blows out. Speaks with Shadows. You are just covered. It is just absolutely. It is just horrible.
Deserve it.
Okay. Yeah, Speaks with Shadows, it's your turn.
I'm gonna spend Gnosis to use Speed of Thought.
Yes,
and
you will.
double my running speed.
Nice, which also affects running related maneuvers like jumping and tumbling and some of those kinds of fun things.
So is that my action, or do I get to like move too?
So using a gift is typically your quote action. It'll never really detract from your movement unless it specifically says like it takes some sort of extra effort or what have you. So you kind of your concentration of using the gift, you are now really super fast. Oh man. All right. So you move.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, let me know. Basically, this is what I'm going to try and do. You let me know what I can do. I want to try and get a long enough vine, and I want to wrap around his legs like Luke Skywalker and AT, and try and trip him. Yeah.
I'm with you, Hoth. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Exactly.
You are the A-wing.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Let's do it.
Snow speed.
Okay. Actually, since you're moving, I'm going to say that as you're running, you grab a vine and you begin your Luke Skywalker A-wing maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say you begin at this turn, and because of Speed of Thought, you're able to actually really get all the way around behind it. You are noticing that you are directly below its tail.
Yeah.
And you're going to make around the other side, and you're starting to kind of turn that corner, but we'll pause there.
That's fine.
That's further than you probably would have been able to get because of Speed of Thought. But That's about where you're at. You're getting ready to make your first revolution around.
Sweet.
Okay, now Heather's Bloom, you have your rage action. So you get a whole turn, literally. And yes, Meryl, that means you get 3.
I'm gonna go ahead and claw again.
Okay, go for it. Meryl, if you want to make your rolls in advance and kind of say, there you go. Remember, your difficulty's lowered to hit. You only need 1 success to hit, but if you do a whole bunch of successes, give me some cinematic flair. And then the number of dice you roll for damage, difficulty 6, they do not explode. Give me the number of successes for damage, and that we'll kind of describe it. We'll get the numbers, and then we'll make it cinematic. Okay, Cole, how's Heather's Bloom doing?
3 successes.
Excrement. Okay, you are on the haunches again, and it just snot rockets Speak with Shadows, who disappears, and then you lead in again, and just using your claws, just ripping into the haunches. Go ahead and roll damage.
Four.
Nice. Okay, cool.
The ones count against you on damage as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then 3. Sorry, 3.
Okay.
3 instant.
No worries. Okay. It's all good. Actually, oh, hold on. 1, 2. There we go. Okay. Cool. Meryl, how are you doing on those rolls?
So first attack, because I get 9 dice to attack.
9.
If I'm doing that right, because
Wow.
my dex is 5 and my brawl is incredible. My brawl is 4.
That's right. And you get to reroll 10s.
Yeah, no 10s there. Got a couple of ones, but it's still 4 successes.
You hit.
Taking that out. So re-rolling damage. Sorry, I'm using an auto roller because I thought it would be easier, and it isn't. So with the claw attack, that is going to be strength plus 3 because of my sharpened claws, and my strength is 7, so that is 10 dice.
Exactly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And so sorry, what's the difficulty on the damage again?
It's okay. 6.
6. And is that 1 lower from my sharpened claws as well?
Oh no, it's difficulty to hit, not difficulty for the damage roll.
Okay, gotcha. So with 6, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes, and then I got 2 10s on top of those 6 successes. So that's 8 successes with 2 10s, and I re-roll those 10s, right?
Not for damage, unfortunately.
That's right. So that's yeah. So that's 8 damage with my first attack.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Okay, so with the claw that Cole was doing, you're getting some lacerations in there, but it was soaking a lot of that damage. It kind of a couple of those points of damage went through. It's soak roll, it's stamina roll. With this one, I did not soak super great, so you could see that it really took some of that, right? Where you get it right in the face, or in the, you said chest, or I'm sorry, trying to remember.
Whatever is soft and exposed, I'm just raking right now.
Let's be honest, throat.
Yeah, done. Doing it.
Starts in between those little arms and then kind of goes right at the center, right? So imagining, sorry, I do this for visuals so that you can see and imagine, but it's awkward because I'm not a T-Rex, but there it is. So that's what role playing is all about. I'm not a T-Rex, but am I? So, all right. Now, that was your first attack.
First attack.
You get 2 more.
Yeah. So with the next attack, difficulty 5, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes on that roll.
Okay, so you hit solid. You connect. In fact, you want to give me a little cinematic flair for the number of successes you just got?
I just go up and it's like kind of one of those.
You're just like a skilled boxer with one of those little medicine balls, the little punching ball. I don't know what they're called, but you're just like, but with your claws instead, and you're just like going at it.
Oh, it's like Total Fury.
It's just Drax the Destroyer inside the gullet of the beast.
I got 3 1s on the damage, so those will take away some successes.
Okay.
So with difficulty 6, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 successes, so only 1 damage on that one.
Oh, soaked it. Okay. I got 8
And
soaked dice.
for my last, so I hit super good, but not in great places.
Okay.
So for the last attack, that's going to be 1, 2, 3 successes with 1 number 1. So that's 2 successes. And for the damage on that, let me roll 10 entire dice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 2 ones taking away some successes. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to be 4 damage that I'm going to do.
Okay, cool. And he actually soaked only 1 of that.
So here's a question. I have my fetish I can use in combat, but that takes Gnosis, and I can't do that because I'm raging, right?
So you used your rage actions. Now we're going to be moving to the top of the round. So we're now at the top at Whisperer again. So this is the point where I'm asking if anyone wants to spend any rage actions now.
I would like to spend another one, yes.
Okay, another 1 for Heather's Bloom.
I'll spend 1.
Okay, and we'll have 1 from Speaks with Shadows.
I'll spend 1. I won't get greedy again.
Okay, 1 with Marrow. And Whisperer, are you going to be spending rage or no?
Oh, come on.
Nope.
Come
I
on.
only have 2 total. I'm
Me
not
too.
spending them.
I will warn you, always reserve at least 1 rage, because there is that, although distant, possibility you could lose the ability to shift entirely if you have spent all of your rage and don't regain it back. The good news is that you're a werewolf. You get it back pretty easy. Someone decks you in the head, you get a rage. Someone, one of your pack mates goes down, you get a rage. I mean, there's some real possibilities to have that happen. Okay.
Real quick,
So
I'm actually not going to spend that rage. So rereading that fetish, I'm going to use that this time.
Okay, so Marrow is going to spend 0. Whisperer, it's your turn. Go for it.
Oh, the water was quite entertaining. So let's see. I know this probably isn't going to work very well because I don't think that T-Rexes are very flammable per se. But I do want to try doing like fire on top of its head, basically.
Okay.
So not like that's going to do much, I don't think, but we'll try.
Okay.
So let's see, difficulty is still 6 for this, right?
Yeah.
Next roll. So that's 2 10s and a 6. The other ones are below 6.
Okay.
And 10s you said do not explode currently.
Correct. So
Okay,
describe
so
what effect you're seeking.
So basically, since I've got 3 cubic feet of this, I'm basically going to try to spread those like across the top of its head, maybe like by more towards one of the eyes, to maybe affect the eyesight as well.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're trying to essentially now you said fire, right? Sorry.
Yeah, fire.
Mind blank there. Okay, so you're essentially just trying to burn out one of its eyes. Okay,
And
so
1 health level of damage per success to a maximum of 3 health, and that's 3.
And that's you got the maximum possibility of that. Okay, wonderful. So we'll roll the soak. Actually, I'm going to give it a soak penalty because the eye is kind of squishy.
Okay.
So 3. So it does in fact take 1 health level of damage, certainly aggravated, to its eyeball. Okay. It roars up in pain, and you can see it kind of lifts up one of its legs as if it's getting ready to stomp Heather's Bloom. Like it's looking down, like it doesn't understand what's going on, but you're the one that's thrashing at its leg. Actually, Marrow, you're in front of it, and you just did a decent amount of damage. So it's looking like it's about to stomp one of you two. You're not quite sure which one.
Can I kind of run up and bump against Heather's to kind of push her a little bit out of the way?
No.
Okay.
But you can use your movement to get over to her, and you can give me a roll to try to do that.
Okay, so I'm going to run over to try to give her a bump. What am I needing to roll?
So I love the idea, and in the immortal words that we all know and love, you can certainly try. But sometimes I will call for a roll, especially during combat, and I'm wanting to say dexterity
Mhm.
plus possibly dexterity plus brawl. Let's say, because it really is that kind of brawl or athletics. I'll let you choose.
Brawl or athletics? Oh, neat. Brawl's the only one I've got that has any dots in it. So
Then there it is.
please, what's the difficulty?
Diff 8. Since you're trying to do it as a part of your movement, you're literally trying to clip her as you're running by.
That would be. Oh God, that's not. I don't even have an 8, but I do have a 1.
So you do have a botch. Okay, so not only do you manage to bump into Heather's Bloom, but you manage to literally knock the both of you on your asses.
Sorry.
So it's going to be Marrow's turn, and you can see that the T-Rex, actually, let's do it this way. Mark, evens or odds, please? For your favor. For your favor.
Evens, and I would prefer to take the hit. I feel like that's my job.
Reds. Put it all on red.
Well, my dice are black with red numbers.
Oh,
So, Mark, you are going to get the full brunt of a T-Rex stomp.
Good.
Which is interesting because it gets an additional die to do this stomp, which is very, very cool. Okay, so that's going to be 6 successes.
sorry, Mark. I tried. I just was so last.
You know that impression in Jurassic Park that like had the water in it that goes, woo? That's kind of the way you feel your body's about to react.
That's Marrow. He's the impression now. Just.
But it's only, I mean, strength is only 15.
Cool. Great.
Only?
Excuse me, I got to count these up.
Only 15?
Okay, so we're going to soak some damage now. Marrow, your stamina in Krenos is what?
Let's see, my stamina, sir, is. You said in Hispo or Krenos?
In Hispo, it's 5, it looks like.
Stamina is 7 in Hispo.
In Hispo, 1, 2, 3. Oh, because I'm looking at the wrong character sheet. It would help to look at the right character sheet. Yes, please. Okay, cool. So go ahead and roll 7 dice. Difficulty 6. And, well, your raw stamina, your base stamina in Hamid on the front of your character sheet, is that 4 dice or more?
My basic character on stamina is 4 dice, yes.
Oh, good. You'll get to reroll 10s because you need to soak 11 points of, or 11 health levels of damage.
Okay.
Ouch.
And how many, what was the difficulty again?
Just 6.
Okay, so that's 3 successes.
No.
So you knock it down to 8. What happens is in a bone crunching, several tons of weight and muscle pressing down on your body crushes you into the ground, flattening you, just pushing you, knocking you over and down, and claws just, it's not even the claw that really hurts. It's just the simple sheer strength and weight of this thing that crushes the life from your lungs. Now, the good news is you are a Garou and you are not that damn easy to kill. Roll your rage.
Yeah. And
battle scar.
so explain rolling my rage again one more
Sure.
time. So sorry.
What? How many permanent rage do you have? How many total dots filled in on your character sheet under rage?
7
Roll 7 dice, diff 6.
on it. All right, so I got a 1 there.
Okay.
So 1, that's 2 successes.
Okay, you heal 2 health levels and you push yourself from the brink of death and grab hold of the T-Rex claws. And you did not spend a rage this action, but we will return to you shortly so that you can react to that. Speaks with Shadows, your turn. You see a very distinct shape of Marrow go down. Actually, all fours. So yeah, would have just like flattened you straight down because you're in hispo. Yeah.
Ugh.
Down boy.
I'm trying to wrap these legs up.
Okay. So it sort of like smashes down on top of Marrow. And so you start running and you run around and you're kind of grabbing this vine and you're like, God, I hope it's long enough. And we'll say for cinematic purposes that you just snaps really high up and you just get a couple of revolutions around.
Okay.
Now you are fast. So running around it like twice in a normal round, I'd be like, you're probably fine, 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
But you've got speed of thought active. So you're going around at like 6, 7 revolution. You just start wrapping this thing up. But what I do want you to do is I would like you to make what I'm going to do is we're going to do something that's a little more advanced mechanics here.
Okay.
It really calls for it. I want you to make a feat of strength roll. In other words, roll your willpower.
Oh, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
Okay. And now the rules of this are actually complicated. I'm going to shorthand and fudge them just a little bit for effect and expediency. But basically, you can really do feats of strength that are ridiculous with it in this regard, because your strength is only 2, but you would have the capability of having a strength of 2 plus your hispo,
Which is 3.
which is 3.
So 5, 5, right?
Yeah. So your capability here is, you could possibly have a strength roll of 11 dice here in a moment.
Okay, everyone blow on him real quick. Thank you.
Wait, no, hold on.
Okay, perfect. Get that off real quick. All right, and then do these blow up?
Not if I recall. I'm gonna say no this time.
I got so many 10s. All right, let's see. What do I have to beat?
It's diff 8.
Yeah, I have 4.
4. Okay.
Right. Do I add strength to it at all or no?
No. So this is just the willpower roll. So you roll 4 successes.
Yes.
Your strength is 5. So I need you to now pick up 9 dice and roll them. I'm fudging the mechanics just a little bit to kind of streamline them for the stream, but streamline them for the stream. Wow.
Okay.
I didn't mean to go there, but I'm still going there. All right.
All right, here we go. Okay. And what do I have to beat on this one? Another 8?
This, I think technically, but I'm gonna say diff 6 because it sounds more entertaining right now.
Okay. 5.
Okay, excellent. So 5 successes. You quite literally wrap this thing up and kind of pull its legs together. So it's only got a dexterity of 2.
Let's go.
It can stay up on its haunches. No. This is actually, in fact, botch. 2 dice. One of them was a 1.
Let's go.
Right? So there it goes. Okay, it goes down. And with that, this thing hits hard. Trust me, you do not want to be bit by this thing. 18 dice of damage for the bite.
Ouch.
Okay, so the fun thing is, with the amount of damage that you all have done to it and my crappy soak rolls, we are just about at the point where you're seeing this thing kind of opening up in the strange places where Marrow has been really going for it. Speaking of Marrow, you're going to be, Whisper, you're up. And no, wait, rage actions. Heather's Bloom and then Speaks with Shadows. Sorry, rage actions. I looked at the wrong side of my notes over there.
I'm gonna pick myself up from being knocked over, and I'm going to just immediately go back into the fray and claw at it.
Okay, go for it. If you roll exceptionally well, you've got a chance of seeing the viscera on the inside of this thing. Again, back to Hoth. Are you going to open this thing up?
Yeah, get inside.
3.
Okay, 3 to hit. All right, you go for it. Now roll damage.
I thought they were ugly on the outside.
I thought these things smelled bad on the outside.
On the outside.
Just 1.
Okay. I was going to say I probably soaked it handily, but I'm seeing a couple 1s, so let me count. Yeah, sorry. So just one.
That's okay.
Okay. Speaks with Shadows, your rage action.
I'm gonna bite.
All right, go for it.
So I have 4, 5, and I've got to beat a 5, right? The difficulty it says on the little
Bingo.
sheet. Do these blow up?
Does your front character sheet have 4 or more in dexterity or brawl?
It technically does now that I'm a hispo.
So
For
no.
no, okay. All right. In that case, if it's 5 hit.
Okay, you hit handily. Like, where do you, are you, like, were you throating this thing or what's going
I'm
on?
gonna jump on its back. Well, it's like it fell over, and I'm just gonna leap
Yeah.
on it and just and like maybe the nape of the neck, like ripping it out.
Cool. Okay, go for it.
So how many do I roll at that point? So just because it's strength +1, right? Is that what it says?
Your current strength plus 1 more die.
And then
And-
plus 1 more because it's bite.
Yep, diff 6, and they do not explode.
2.
Okay, so you do 2 points of damage. Let's go to my soap
And
roll.
it's aggravated or whatever.
Yep, that's correct. Oh, 8 dice, and I triple botch.
Whew.
That's 3 1s and no successes, folks. Well, that's interesting. So as you are sort of biting and tearing open, you feel your teeth get stuck in something, and all of a sudden you feel one of your teeth almost ripping out. It's hurting so much. You just get it, and you almost feel like you're prying it open, and then something gives loose, just gives way, and you feel something pop in front of you as the back of this behemoth spasms. Okay, so we're done with rage actions. Let's just put it this way. Whisperer, you're up.
Do I get to react to being pancaked?
Is what now?
Did you say I was going to be able to react to getting pancaked?
Yeah, on your turn. Yeah, so it's
Okay,
Whisperer,
I misunderstood you.
and then you.
Gotcha.
So this thing just spasmed, and is it still seeming to be alive?
It's thrashing, yes, and actually with that, the foot comes off of Marrow.
All right, I'm going to get up and move to such a point that I can actually see kind of where the big gash mark has been from Marrow and Heather. And I'm just going to spend 1 more gnosis and throw fire there specifically.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. Roll your Gnosis. Let's see what we come up with here.
And that was difficulty success. That would be a single success. That would have been 2 if I had a 1.
Okay, I still get to roll stamina, but it is fire, so there's a little bit of difficulty there. So the 1 success, all right, I do soak the 1 success. So you see the singed skin around it, but the real meat of the wound isn't quite touched. It's not quite enough to get down in there. All right, Heather's Bloom.
I am going to try to do a bite attack.
Okay, in that same spot.
Same spot, yep.
Okay.
We have 4 successes.
That'll hit. Go for it. There are deeper mechanics that will allow you to split the number of dice that you roll to allow you to do multiple attacks, like claw by claw and some of these other pieces that are very cinematic but take a lot of dice rolling, a lot of time. So I invite you to look into pack tactics and special combat actions for werewolves. Freaking fun. Anyway, all right, so 3 damage. All right, so it's soak roll. Not all of it. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So here's the deal. It is really, really spasming. You can see that it's still trying to kind of bite at Marrow right now, but it's kind of doing so almost half blindly out of almost muscle spasms. Go for it.
Okay. So I'm going to try to attack. And in doing so, I'm going to try to activate my Fang Dagger, the fetish that I have, which is going to double my successes. So I get 7 dice
Okay.
And I got 2 10s on that, and my character has a 4 in brawl. Do those 10s explode?
Yes.
Okay. So that's 1, 2.
I'm sorry. Fang Dagger, that's going to be melee, not brawl. So Dex plus melee. And actually, so here's the deal. As you're trying to pull that fetish out, you are able to pull it out, but you're going to be using it with your teeth, just so you know, because you're in Hispo.
Oh
It's
yeah.
fine, but like that doesn't really, I mean, you're a werewolf. Okay, go for it.
You know what? Knowing that mechanic, then there's no way I would do that because my melee is 0.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just regular attack.
Okay.
Still have that 4 in brawl with those exploding 10s. So without, let's roll those 10s. And the difficulty is 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 successes.
Okay.
So super good. And that is going to be 10 damage dice.
Yeah.
And I got 2 1s on here. So with a difficulty of 6, it's 1. I did get a 10, but that doesn't explode. So 1 success.
With that last, he does manage to have that last little bit of flare at his neck, where you were starting to sort of do that, you know, Drax maneuver. That last little bit just splits. That one extra. I mean, if you were 1 fewer, and it just splits open, and you can see like the vocal cords of this thing just exposed as it's starting to bleed out. It thrashes, but it is tied up at its feet and it is not working so well because its spine is broken.
Oh yeah.
And with that, it slowly fades. Its existence slowly fades. And its life force ebbs out of it. And you, especially the third just in the group, kind of give thanks for this spirit that had to sort of give its existence over so that you could, you know, for politics.
Yeah. Pour one out for the homies. Gotcha.
And for expedience sake, the exit to the Umbra and the exit of Pangea is as simple as, you all remember?
We have the fetish. Yep.
All right. You're able to separate the head and skull from the rest of its body pretty handily between the dagger and the other pieces. You're able to kind of claw it out and bite out pretty handily. And crushing the talon, you find your way back to the sept of the winter wolf. And you activate it. Typically there'd be a gnosis roll and some other stuff, but we're at that time point, so we'll kind of fast forward some of this and say that you do manage to activate it, and you get back to the sept of the winter wolf. An elder approaches you alongside Frostbite, the big rune that kind of yelled at you, and you haven't earned the right to speak to me that way, that guy. So, but there is a grizzled old guru, and you recognize that guru that reach like ripe old age, like that doesn't happen. You're like warriors of Gaia, killer rage beasts, kind of throwing yourselves into the fray recklessly in some cases. So to see an actual, not only elder, but elderly guru is fairly intense. And he'll come and approach you, and he has this kind of just old wizened, think like a Native American shaman or someone that's just their mere presence exudes respect, not because they speak, but because they understand. And through labored breath, he kind of looks at each of you and then kind of smirks over at Frostbite. They have proved themselves worthy in your eyes, Frostbite. And he kind of barks and just kind of nods his head a little bit. And the Sept of the Green has been exonerated through your efforts. We'll send you home. And as sort of an unexpected gesture. You see this the older gentleman kind of holding out the dream catcher, the fetish, dubbed Bane Catcher, right? And so he says, "Tell Pearl River that cries in the wind is at her aid when she calls." And she'll hand the fetish back to you, and that's where we will end.
Very, very cool.
Awesome.
It's fun.
Speaks with Shadows, you definitely still smell a little bit, but you are able to actually shift into Hamid and kind of brush, get some of it off. Whisperer, I'm sorry, you are still hairless.
It's okay.
I laugh again.
Well, thank you all for joining us. That was an incredible amount of fun. I will admit to having streamlined some of the rules and some of the different things just to make sure that we can fit it all in 2 hours and 15 minutes. Thank you all for those that stayed up later than your usual. I do appreciate that and want to acknowledge that. So thank you for that. And based on the quiz start guide and some of the themes and the clinical themes and some of the other things, again, if you guys have questions about incorporating this into any of your therapeutic conversations or educational conversations or anything like that, this is, are you kidding me? I would love to have those conversations. But I want to honor the time of those folks that are here. And so let's say if you want to hang on and chat for a couple minutes, cool. If not, throw them in the Discord and we'll work together and we'll figure out the answers together. Okay.
Cool.